Hi, I'm Jason Gore for ThatShelf.com, and we're here to talk about Stéphane Lafleur's film Viking.
Big shelf.
So as I'm wandering from my hotel into downtown Kingston, we're here at the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. Canadian Independent Film Festival. I should probably learn the full name of this festival, but yeah, it's a wonderful little festival here in what was my hometown of Kingston for 4 years. I came to Queens a million years ago, and so it's been a real pleasure. I've wanted to come to this festival for many years. It's relatively unique in that it celebrates specifically Canadian cinema. And actually showcases for local audiences, gives them an opportunity to see some of the great films that have come out over the last year and a half, that sort of thing, things that have been on the festival circuit. So there's not a lot in terms of massive new premieres and stuff like that, but nonetheless there's some extraordinary films that I'm getting a chance to catch up on, and one of them is Viking, this terrific film. I really enjoyed it so much, and I'm really annoyed I've missed it until now. Despite the fact that others had suggested, perhaps not as forcefully as an idiot like me needed, that I should really see this film. I mean, the fact of the matter is that it checks off so many boxes for me. It's super smart, it's super clever, its tone is brilliantly darkly black, super dark comedy, but also very smart, and it takes its sci-fi aesthetic and runs with it. And I'll just say now, if all you're ever going to do was just listen to me and say, go watch this film, it's great, then do that. But if we want a little bit more, it's essentially a film that takes an idea that there's a Mars mission, and that they're looking for a crew to essentially be on Earth to replicate the emotional responses of those up there on Mars. In the same way with the Viking lander, how they had a sort of fake lander, or not a fake lander, a sister lander, to make sure the systems are working on Earth the same way that they're working on the surface of planet Mars. They did that with human beings. And from there you get some really interesting ideas about leadership, about the integration, about whether or not people are taking seriously the events as they unfold. And as things eventually become, decidedly catastrophic, as we would expect them to do, things go awry, it really becomes quite fun. It is, as I said, bleakly humorous, but also very smart. And what's amazing about it, it's one of these great sci-fi ideas. It's such a brilliant idea, and they execute it beautifully, but it doesn't require a tremendous amount of scope. There's a real jankiness to it. That, if you are pretending to be a space voyager on Earth, and they're pretending to be space voyagers on Earth in a movie, and so it allows them to have this sort of very DIY aesthetic. The whole way that it's sort of taking place in a really, as I said, smart and an engaging way. The performances are great. Everybody has this sort of like world weariness, this tiredness about it, the emotional exhaustion of sort of dealing with this, but also just the bureaucratic, nonsensical nature of it, of working with this, and it's so decidedly and wonderfully French Canadian, because you get all of the sort of general aspects of that cinema, these like beautiful character moments, these the playfulness of the language going back and forth, the franglais as it were, but also just a sense of somehow you're a cog in a much larger wheel, like that sort of that weird ennui that you get of recognizing that sometimes what you're contributing isn't appreciated enough, or isn't actually being held on with the respect that probably it deserves. That is a bureaucratic humor does very well in Quebec, I'll simply say that. Norberg, in a funny way, which is also playing here, sort of touches upon that too. It's obviously a much more serious story, but it has that sort of sense, that sort of middle management ennui, which I actually really respond to. I have a friend that loves henchman humor, and there's something to be said about that, or at least any films where henchmen are being, or women are hench people, are being having a difficult time. So yeah, like, I mean, in a funny way, you can compare it to something like Moon, which is obviously much more sophisticated in terms of some of its visual notions, but taking a quote-unquote small idea and actually running with it and actually making it something that's really rich and extraordinary. This is a film that takes, again, it should be a one-note thing. It could be a short film, and you get the idea. And yet, the way that they're able to expand it, the way that the storyline is actually able to continue, is great. As it rolls on and things go awry, as they inevitably do, it truly becomes something well worth seeing. So yeah, absolutely one of the fine discoveries for me here at Kingston. It's been such a pleasure being here. Incredible nostalgia to be here, of course. I got to go to some of my favorite restaurants. I got to do some of the stuff and hang out with some of my friends and colleagues that have been here. But yeah, I mean, I used to live right over there, and here I am being able to walk up and down Princess and take in some of these terrific films at this really, really lovely film festival, which I absolutely encourage anyone anywhere near here to actually try to engage with, because you just might find such a gem, such as Viking. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jason Gore for ThatShelf.com. Please let us know in the comments what you think of this film, and we will see you next video. Take care. Bye.